Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It is Nixon Serbia, and if you're new here, you should probably check out my videos from the beginning. I'm just a girl who moved from Canada, born and raised, and I'm here living in Serbia. Um, for most Serbs, I don't think you guys would realize how many people are either trying to move to Serbia, are in the process of moving to Serbia, or already live in Serbia. But I'm going to just give you a little bit of insight on this. I am contacted about 10 times a week of new people trying to move to Serbia, whether they have Serbian roots or some of them are just interested in Serbia as a country. I have even Russians that contact me looking for information on how to move to Serbia. As you'll see, my scenery is a bit different. I'm outside. I'm enjoying the beautiful weather in Serbia because it has finally stopped raining after so many long days of rain. Anyways, today's topic, we're going to talk all about schooling in Serbia. That is probably one of the number one questions that I get. And that's probably because some of the other popular YouTubers don't have children that are in school. Fortunately for you guys, I have children that are in high school as well as a child who's in the elementary school. So I can actually speak on two different experiences. Let's get into this. Okay, so we arrived in Serbia beginning of December, and it was like top priority for us to get our kids into school, of course. And we were met with some very difficult choices that I have lightly brushed on. But with the amount of questions I'm getting, I realize that there is more information needed for parents that are planning on moving. And the more that move here, the better for the economy and just for Serbia as a whole. So I definitely need to touch on some more details to help families that are moving. Public and private. I think that's just going to be what we're going to call them. I know that the publics are actually considered like state schools, but I'm just going to go public and private. In North America, United States, and Canada, if your kid goes to a private school, you are part of the elite of elite. We are talking the best education, the most discipline, and it's really only for the rich. I could never afford to send my kid in private school. My kids in private school in Canada, as that was far out of our budget. Our kids went to what would be considered almost like private sector, but it wasn't. They went to a Catholic school that accepted Orthodox Christians. Fun fact, I am Serbian Orthodox as well as my children. I was baptized in a monastery in Milton, Ontario, and I am definitely a Serbian Orthodox. Okay, I always do this. I get off topic. Okay, let's go back to it. So my kids were still part of the public education, but rather in the Catholic school. So because it was considered like a religious school, it was almost like a private sector, but you don't pay. So public. When we got here and we sent our kids to a public school, Kamora and Leia easily went into a school here, no problems. What a lot of people don't realize is the Canadian American grades, the kids in Serbia actually start a year later, so your kids go back a grade, which actually isn't bad. I mean, it has been determined that Canada and the US are ranked like some ridiculously high number for their educational system. God only knows why, because the reality is their education sucks. So how they even got that high in the ranking? I don't know. Did they pay their way? Or is that just the Western media still trying to convince people that Canada and the United States is the promised land? Okay, so the education in Serbia is far more advanced than what the education is in Canada. So your kid going back a grade, while it may seem like, oh my God, to us when we first moved, it really isn't, because it's giving your child the opportunity to, first of all, go to school with kids their age, but second of all, catch up, because let me tell you, if you put them a year ahead, our kids are already behind. So if they go a year ahead, they're really behind. Okay. So we get Leia and Kimura into this public school. We're so excited. They understand that the kids don't speak Serbian, and they're like, listen, we're going to work with them. We'll figure it out. I'm like, oh my God, thank you. Okay. So now we go over to find a high school, gymnasia, and they're like, we're not taking him for Xavier. Now, the difference is Xavier would have had to write some, I guess, like entry exams. There's a big exam that happens at the end of grade 8 before a child enters into high school in Serbia. And in high school, they call it year 1, 2, 3, and 4, rather than grade 11. 11, rather than grade 9, 10, 11, and 12. So we were stumped with what do we do now? Now, a little bit of information. Kimura and Xavier are 11 months apart. In Canada, Kimura was in grade 10. Kimura was in grade 9. Xavier was in grade 10. I don't know what's with me right now. Maybe too much sun today. I know it doesn't show, but I did take in a lot of sun. But when we got here, we went with the Serbian way, and we actually put Kimura back a grade because that's what she wanted. I can't remember if Leia stuck to her grade. I think she did. But Xavier, we were putting him in 9 or 10. It was kind of like, let's just discuss it with the school. Okay. So Gymnasia says, no, we're not going to take Xavier. And they said, to be honest, like, take him into the city because we don't live in Novi Sad. I know a lot of you think I do, or a lot of you think I live in Belgrade. I don't live in Belgrade. I don't live in Novi Sad. So I was like, okay, like, we'll figure this out. Long story short, we end up sending Xavier to a private school in Novi Sad. And then we determine, you know what? That school takes children from preschool all the way up to the finishing of high school. We're just going to send all of them, even though it's against our budget. It makes more sense to have the kids all go to one place than us struggling to get back and forth for pickup and drop-offs, which I know is rare in Serbia. Kids take the bus. But again, we're coming from Canada, and this is the norm. We're working on it. So we get them all into this private school. We're spending over 1,000 euros a month. Oh my God. Even saying it, like I wanna throw up. Like we're spending almost 1,500 euros a month, almost. So each kid in a private school is about 500 euros per kid. And you get slight discount when you have so many children. But like, is it a discount? Because let me tell you, these kids don't save me a dime, a dollar, or a dinar. Okay. So now the kids are all going to the same school. And I'm like, oh my God, this is fantastic. Like they're in a private school. I couldn't dream of them being in a school prettier than this one. The school is gorgeous. Oh my God. Okay, so first of all, fast forward, Canadian mentality, just because it's pretty doesn't mean it's a good school, first of all. Second of all, the teachers rarely showed up. Third of all, this was glorified babysitting. Literally, I felt like I dropped my kids off at daycare, at camp, or babysitting for the day, and then I'd just come back at the end of the day and pick them up. They fed them, sure, that was the best part of the day. But like, guys, what'd you learn? Nothing. Okay, so you're gonna say, all kids say nothing. No, this was different. This was very different. So I'm talking to the Serbs now, and we're like complaining about this private school, Mickey and I, like, what the hell is going on? Only to find out, in Serbia, private and public, you get a better education than private. Now, to speak on that point, some people are going to say, no. Okay. So we go to complain that the kids are not learning. The answer is, from the school director, this is private. We can't push the kids. We can tell the kids what they should do, but people send their kids here spending a lot of money, so we kind of just let the kids dictate their day. What? This is like a huge plot twist compared to what I was used to in Canada. Okay. So now I've determined, oh my God, we're screwed. Our kids are going to learn nothing for the year. What am I going to do? Time flies, guys. We're in June. Time flies. So I decided, you know, they had to stay in there for the rest of the year. This was not something I could take on and move them to another school mid-school year. It's not fair to them. It's not fair to me. And May hit, and I'm like, babe, like the end of the school year's here. What are we going to do? Okay, so I went into hightail of looking for schools. Number one biggest problem, the kids don't speak Serbian. Now, I can continue to cater to this nonsense and keep them in private school, which is against my entire being, financially, mentally, for their mental health. So I determined that, you know what, they're going to public no matter what, state school, public school, come September. So I really felt like this was going to be a daunting, difficult task, because the reality is they are not only going to try to learn the language, but on top of that, try to keep up with now 18 subjects. You got that right, 18 subjects. 18 subjects is kind of what I've heard as the norm of how many subjects the kids learn in state schools for high school. So now we're talking Kimura and Xavier. Now, Leia's going to be the easier one to actually just send to a public school, except emotionally she's not, because she is now being separated from her sister and her brother, who she's kind of used as a crutch. She has not learned actually Serbian. And unfortunately her friends in the her friends in the private school speak English, so it's to no benefit of Leia's. So Leia's gonna go into a public school, and that one's an easy one. Now, when it came to a high school, this became a bit more difficult. I did find a school, but I had to do research. I had to interview schools. I had to, I sent the kids to Saturday school to go into like an IB program because they spoke English. And then it dawned on me, who am I benefiting here if I send them to an English school? That's right, guys. They're going to an all-Serbian gimnazia school. Now, there's two different types of high schools. Gimnazia and then more of like a technical-based school. Now, for my Canadians and Americans, that's going to be totally new to us. So here, you can go to school and focus on a profession from the beginning of your high school ventures. Meaning, you can go into a technical school, medical school, grammar school, etc. And a gimnazia, the reason why it's 18 subjects is you're studying like a broad knowledge of maybe everything. Basically, consider it, you're either going for university courses or college courses, or for my Canadians, academic and applied. It doesn't mean that it's actually for the less intelligent. It just means that it's for the broader knowledge. Gymnasia is for like everything. You learn everything. So I found, guys, expats, you're gonna wanna hear this. After all my research, I found a school that caters to technology. And you guys are like, okay, what's the point? Okay, so the teachers teach in all Serbian. Good, I want that. But the kids all use laptops. And you're thinking, okay. Well, when they don't understand a textbook or an assignment that they receive, they can hit translate on their laptop. It gets better. It gets better. Stay with me. This school is an in-between private and public. Now, the fee for the school year is so minimal. It is less than what it was going to cost us for 1 month in that private school for all 3 kids, which includes a laptop. And on top of that, they are not going to be inundated with work the way the regular schools are, sending homework home. There's not much homework, which I believe in. I believe school is for school, home is for home. And they can just focus on their subjects when they're with their teachers. And because this school is like an in-betweeny, they have children from Germany, Australia, Canada, everywhere. Which means that my children are going to be in a school with other children who are learning or have learned Serbian and not from birth. They're going to be in a school where they can translate rather than having to bring a cell phone and trying to take pictures, because cell phones in school are not a thing. Like, that is just not a thing. I know. Some of you are like, what? Cell phones in school are not a thing, okay? So then on top of that, they're gonna speak Serbian. They're gonna learn Serbian, guys. They're gonna learn Serbian. And they're gonna be forced into this environment where they have no choice but to learn it, which is all I've been ever wanting for them. I think the same thing kind of needs to happen to me, but here I am hanging out with expats where we all just sit there and speak English. Okay, I understand quite a bit. In fact, my next video is going to be me explaining to you my Serbian journey. But for any of you that have questions about schools, believe me, I have visited schools as far as Sopot, just outside of Belgrade, 40 minutes. I've had visits in all over Novi Sad. I've had visits in the Verdnik and other areas. You can reach out to me and ask me questions. Because I had children who ranged in age and were going into different grades, I have done my homework. I've done my homework on art schools. I've done my homework on just regular state schools, private, and the in-betweenies. And I'm here and happy to help. Shoot me a message if you have any questions. If you haven't followed me on Instagram yet, here's the handle if you haven't followed me on Instagram, and it's best to really communicate with me through there. If you have more detailed questions or you're looking for more information, I also have a live website now, which is www.nixinserbia.com. That is going to be for my expats. For all of my subscribers who have been with me from day one or who have been with me since yesterday, thank you very much for your support. I genuinely appreciate it. And to anyone who's new here, give me a like, give me a subscribe. I'd much appreciate it. As always, I love talking to you guys. Vidimo se. Ciao.